Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So my friend Leslie Curtis, who's director of the business development over at Regents Park at Boca Raton, has so much to say. She's been doing this for a long time. She is a nurse. She is an RN, but she has been very involved with helping people over there at the Regents Park of Boca Raton. And flu season is underway, and we always talk about that. So I had my flu shot just recently, and it's funny. I don't even feel it when it goes, and then I never get sick, and I always have it. And yet there are people, Leslie, who just say, oh, no, I don't get those shots. No, I don't believe in those things.
Oh, I know.
You hear that?
I hear it all the time. And it's amazing how many healthcare workers don't get them.
Well, that's not good, isn't it? Because they especially are there with disease all around them.
Right. It'd be so easy to catch it and then spread it.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people just don't believe in it. I'm not quite sure why. But, well, it's like any vaccine. Some people just don't believe in it. I'm not one of those people.
Right.
If you've ever had the flu, you know you never want to get it again.
Right. And also, as one ages, it does turn into pneumonia much quicker.
Oh, yeah. And that we both know that can be deadly.
Yeah.
You know, to fight off pneumonia when you're younger is tough enough, and it really drags you out. But if you have the flu and then end up with pneumonia, now you're battling two things, and you just be worn down so quickly.
And so you have a very strict policy there, I believe, at Regents Park of Boca about making sure that people have their shots, especially when people come in. You want them, if they have to come in for rehab? Right.
We need to make sure that they don't have the flu when they come in because it is contagious. We all know that. So we make sure if they tested positive in the hospital, they have to be on Tamiflu, which is a medication given for people with the flu too, so it doesn't last as long. But they have to be on that for at least 5 days before we can take the patient.
So you're pretty serious about it. And I think that this happens everywhere when, I don't know how they treat people in the school system. I don't think they make the children have flu shots, do they?
No. I think they encourage it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if, you have children, you can go to the health department and get them for free.
Right.
I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people have, insurance for their children, in which case it's covered. Even insurance companies, as much as they don't want to pay a lot of money out, would rather pay for a flu shot than a hospitalization.
Sure. And, yeah, and when we talk about the flu, there have been times when the flu has all sorts of strains, different kinds. But this year, have you heard about that? Is it more deadly?
I haven't heard about that. Sometimes it mutates. Flu season really started early this year. Theoretically, October 1st is the beginning, but we saw people with flu in September. So, we keep an eye on who's coming into our building. We have signs posted all over the place. If you feel like you have the flu, no offense, but please leave. Don't visit.
Right.
Because you never know. You could do everything right in a facility, but a visitor comes in with the flu. You have no idea. You encourage people to wash their hands and not visit if they don't feel good. Doesn't mean they're going to listen to you. Or they could have the beginning of the flu and just think they're catching a cold, at which point they really shouldn't visit either. But,
yeah,
you can't control that. So you do the best you can, but unfortunately, you can't control everything, So, although, we would like to.
Right. So let's talk about washing your hands. That was a very good point. I don't see people washing their hands very much.
No, and that is the best way, one of the best ways to alleviate a lot of infections. Just wash your hands. Wash them often. don't go touching everything that you see. I mean, you even see in the grocery store now they have the little sanitizers as you walk around, because that is the best way to not catch things, just by washing your hands.
Mm-hmm. There was I don't know, it may have come from your organization. I'm not sure, but the story is you have to sing Happy Birthday twice.
Yeah.
It came from, I think that's where I heard it. I never heard
that's where it came from. It is on our YouTube channel.
Right.
And we actually got somebody responded and said, "Why would you waste all that water?"
Oh, you're kidding.
No, and it's like, it's not a waste of water.
Right.
It's to prevent, contamination. So, yeah, you sing Happy Birthday to you 2 times
right.
if you sing it slow, 3 times if you sing it fast. And
I didn't even hear that. 2 times is enough.
Yeah.
And you should use warm water, shouldn't you, also?
Warm water.
Yeah.
And really lather those hands up. And like I said, you can go on our YouTube channel. You'll see the video. It's quite amusing.
Well, I want to talk about people now everywhere, not just, of course, at Regents Park, wearing these gloves. I have a problem, in a sense, that people put the gloves on and they do a lot of things and they just keep using the gloves. To me, they're dirty. But I see this when you're looking at restaurants, people have gloves. When you're in hospitals, you're in nursing home, everywhere they wear gloves. But I know when I go to the doctors, they wear the glove, and then before they take them off.
Right, that's how they're supposed to do it.
But that's not happening. You know that.
No, I know it. I see it too. They're supposed to, it's a one-time deal. You use the gloves for whatever, and you take them off.
Right.
And you still wash your hands. I mean.
Oh, right.
Just because you have a glove on doesn't mean that you don't wash your hands when you're done doing whatever you're doing.
Right.
You still wash your hands.
That's true. That's what you should do. Well, it's a whole system now that I don't think we thought much about before, but now you just never know what's out there, and you have to take as many precautions as you can. So the other thing I want to reassure everyone, someone said, well, what if I get sick and I get sick from the flu shot? Well, actually, Dr. Mencia addressed that on one of the shows, and he said, if you do get sick, it's going to be very minimal.
Right. Much milder than if you didn't take the flu shot.
And I never got sick. In all the flu shots that I get, I never get sick.
Most people do not. I mean, if anything, they might have a little bit of tenderness where they got the shot. But most people don't get sick from the flu shot. Right.
Well, that's a whole new, it's the influenza. If you really go back I don't know when the influenza came, but it really did kill, I don't know how many people in the United States. That was a very big, serious epidemic.
Yeah, and you can't prevent it entirely, but you could certainly have more control over it than everybody does. I mean, I personally don't like being sick, so,
Right. You'll take anything that you can take.
That's right. Give it to me.
Right, give it to me. I do the same thing, and it's interesting. I don't like to go to drugstores to get it. I like to go to a doctor.
Well, then they have the record.
Exactly.
That is the best way to go, especially because, it's usually covered by insurance. If you have insurance, it's covered. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If you have Medicare, it's covered. Medicare D plans, it's all covered. So why wouldn't you do it? Plan your annual appointment with your physician right around flu season, and then you can go in and get everything done at one time.
Exactly. Well, I know that I do this with my dog. My dog has certain shots he has to get every year, and they have a record, and then he just gets them. And I know when my children were young, they had certain things, and there are people who just don't believe in it, and that's really not good because they could actually be the cause of something coming back. Right.
And I don't know what state it was. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't say, but where there were so many people that were refusing to immunize their children that they had an outbreak of measles.
I remember that just recently, yes.
So imagine, you do everything right. You send your kid to school, and they come home with, measles or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't. It's almost like these things become fads at some points.
Right.
And everyone's got a right to do what they want to do, but you really have to do a lot of research before you make that kind of decision.
Well, let's take the polio shot. I remember when my children were young, I was so scared in the summer that, oh, my goodness, that's when polio happens. Oh, we have to watch out for everything. And, of course, and then polio shots came. And it was such a great relief, and it absolutely obliterated polio.
Right. And we'll still see patients to this day post-polio syndrome.
Yeah.
Because they had it as a child.
Right. I've seen that. Have you seen people there at Regents Park?
Yeah.
What is that like?
Usually it's a gait disturbance. They're mobile. But usually, there's, like I said, there's a gait disturbance. I can look at somebody almost and think, I bet you he's post-polio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Once you've seen it, you've seen it. I worked with a respiratory therapist that was post-polio years ago. It doesn't stop them, but, it's like, God, we're so lucky that
right.
we don't have to have that happen anymore.
Yeah. That's why we have to make sure. Now, I don't think parents have a problem getting the polio shot, do you?
I don't think so. I haven't heard of that.
Right. But I did hear in some country they were afraid the United States was going in there, and they were trying to give them shots, and there was a mystery that said, oh, they're trying to give us something bad, or, it was all that propaganda. But
right.
It's, of course, I don't live in that world, so it doesn't matter to me. But I did volunteer once for someone that lived in an iron lung. You would understand an iron lung. Not everybody even knows what I'm talking about. But she was there at the time I was volunteering. She was 30. She had been there since she was 17.
Wow.
And it Just Breathe For It was really an interesting situation to watch that. It was, when you first see it, it's like, oh, my God, but she had polio all this time, and she still was living, and it was working for her. She was totally paralyzed except for her head, that she could move around.
No, and see, that's so sad to, those things don't have to happen.
Yeah.
Not nowadays.
That's what the whole point was. The same thing with, I think that's why we'll go back to what we started with the flu shot. You see somebody, a person maybe in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, didn't have a flu shot. They're winding up now into the hospital, and then they're winding up in probably, it could be the end of their life because they can't get enough breath. They can't get enough oxygen, and it's taking hold. Especially some people, as they age, they do lose weight, and they lose, a lot of the, I guess, fat or whatever that keeps them healthy. Well,
muscle mass.
Yeah, exactly. And so we don't want that to happen. And that's the point of Leslie Curtis coming on, because it shows that people there at Regents Park are very concerned and very up to date on everything. So if you have something that you're thinking about, an operation that you're planning for your hip or your knees or shoulder, you want to go where there's a very, very nice, well, it's more than nice, it's really elegant, and they do everything right there. So you'll want to go for a little tour ahead of time. Remember, you do not have to go where your doctor tells you. You can choose where you want to go. And anyone who's ever been to Regents Park of Boca will tell you that it is just a wonderful place, and it's where they should go. So let me give you some information. Remember, this is radio, Pencil Talk Radio, so get your pencils out. The phone number to call is 561-483-9282. That's 483-9282. And their website is regentsparkboca.com. Get on their website. You will see so much happening there. I'm also going to congratulate you, and I hear that you have something that you do there once a month. It's called Prime or something?
Yeah, it's through the BOCA RATON Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And, it's Prime, and it's basically for those of us that are over 40.
Right.
Not that any of us are, but, So it's really a good group of people. Different speaker every month. We provide the breakfast, which they love.
And have you learned a lot?
Oh, yeah. I sit in every single meeting.
I'm sure.
The speakers are great.
Well, Leonie usually goes, but I've been a little jealous about that.
You should go.
I probably should go. You know, she's kind of like, oh, I go to Prime, that's mine. But I think I will peek in there because I'm happy that you're doing this. You have such a beautiful place, and I think you get a very good turnout.
We do. It's limited to 25 people.
Ah.
So it's really, you know, it's just a nice atmosphere because you can hold up your hand like you're back in school, you know, if you have a question. But it's amazing. I've learned a lot from all different kinds of companies and, you know, and some of the people are the same people all the time. But they're so nice. I've just met great people.
Well, and I think that's what makes Regents Park of Boca so really well thought of and good, because you do attract a very high-end group of people who even come there. Even though Medicare, you are Medicare approved, and if you're on Medicare, you can go there and things are pretty much taken care of for you. Isn't that true?
Yeah. The first 20 days are covered at 100%. And then 21 to 100, there's a co-insurance that Medicare doesn't cover anywhere. But if you have a Medicare supplement, it usually covers it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, it's really a very nice place. And there are other places all over the country. I mean, they call them rehab centers. They call them, what else do they call them? Well, of course, you are also a nursing facility for people who are there, and that's where they need to live because they need the care.
Right.
But your rehab center, people come in and they leave. They come in and they leave.
Oh, yeah. Here they go. Here they come.
Right.
I feel like there should be a bus just, you know, bringing them in and taking them home.
Now, do you ever do respite care there?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, tell me about that. We've never talked about that, or at least not much.
Yeah, respite, you pay room and board, and generally they can bring in their medications. And usually people, you know, are going to a wedding or something, so they bring mom or dad, you know, for 5 days, and then they pick them up. We also have hospice respite. So if a patient is at home with, you know, hospice following them, hospice will pay for them to come in up to 5 days for respite care. And again, a lot of times that's just because the caregiver needs a break. You know, it's hard work to be a caregiver, you know, for somebody that needs a lot of care. So
yes, we know that.
We take hospice patients in under respite, and then just, you know, people that have to pay privately.
That is really very nice to do that. And it opens up to people maybe who didn't know much about Regents Park. But I think respite care is very, very important, and I wanted to stress that. Have you written an article about respite care before? I don't remember. Maybe you have.
I don't think so. But I probably should.
Yes, I think you should in your next article because people are going to look for that. They don't even know where to go. They don't go places because they're afraid to leave their family member.
Right. And it really is important. I mean, we've had some respite patients that come in, you know, during hurricane season. They're afraid they're going to be, you know, alone in their condo, or what if the power goes out? Well, it's too late then, you know. But we've had patients that come in, you know, kind of often for respite, and now they live here. So, you know, but it gives them a comfort level to make that kind of transition.
Sure. I agree.
Which is always good.
And it's always good for the families because they don't worry. They know that they can always, that their mom or dad's being taken care of, and they can communicate with someone about what's going on. And, I think it's a great idea. So let's talk about respite care if we can, so that we can promote that and also help people in the community that they would understand that they have that choice. Because sometimes they'll just bring in someone to be there, maybe an aide, and that's not good enough because if something happens, they need help, that aide's all alone. What's that aide going to do? Right.
No, it gets, tricky, and it depends on what the needs of the patient are. But, when they're here, they can go to all the activities and enjoy everything that we have to offer. So,
And you have a lot.
It's a little it's a little vacation for them.
That's right. You have a lot for them to offer. So that I could see some say, I don't want to go back home.
Yeah,
I like it here.
I like it here. That's right.
But I like it here. I like the water. I could sit outside and look at the trees and everything else. And I've made some friends. Yeah, so it's a good item. A good item that you've done that. So, of course, for those of you who don't know, Regents Park of Boca has been under the same ownership over 30 some odd years, haven't they?
Probably about 35 by now, yeah.
35 years of someone who really cared enough to start this. And for those of you who need a kosher food's fabulous, but the kosher food is there. So that's one extra thing. Do we put that in the article? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
I don't think we do. We should.
Yeah, we should.
We're doing some good stuff today.
Yeah, you're telling me.
That's right. I was thinking about that because as we talk about it, I think that might just be a good thing for people to know.
Yeah, because I don't think I have it in the ad. So
no, I think we should. So that'll be something we can add too. So let's see. So now we've kind of covered. We went through the flu. We went through respite care. We went through other kinds of things that people should have, and there are some other shots, to take too. That I'm thinking of going to Dr. Mencia to get one. You know what that is.
Well, there's the shingles one.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Because people say it's terrible if it happens.
Well, I've seen a lot of patients with
You have?
bad shingles. Oh, yeah, because if it gets bad enough, they end up in the hospital.
Really? And
yeah.
Do they get it they're there and they get it, or they come in with it, or what?
They come in with it, and they're isolated because, it's contagious. But I've seen the shingles in the eye, and
Really?
I can't even imagine how painful that is. But if they end up in the hospital with shingles, they end up with heavy-duty pain medication because it's very painful.
Okay, you've convinced me. He keeps saying, you ought to come. I have articles that he's written.
I was just reading the article.
Yeah, right. We have another one. I'm definitely going now that you talk to me, too. It's so easy. You just take the shot. It's not a big deal.
No.
I'm going to go and do that. Right.
Yeah.
So I know. Thank you for talking about that. But, I like to have – I'm in for prevention, as you know, and so are you. We do try to do that.
Absolutely.
So we have, when we think about what our mothers and fathers did, they didn't have a lot of these, these opportunities. And, of course, they didn't live as long as we expect to live.
Right.
But, now, my mom did. She lived to be 94. And my grandmother lived to be 95. So even without all this, they did cook really well, though. That they probably got everything they needed in their food.
Yeah. Nowadays we don't.
Well, I've been trying to make some of the stuff like the soups, the vegetable soups. My grandmother made Hungarian cabbage, stuffed cabbage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I even the other day I bought some chicken livers because I thought I looked up chicken liver. It is so high in protein and good health. You probably don't even know that.
No, but you have to eat it.
Right. As compared, you don't like it?
No, I don't like liver, period. That would be my problem.
Okay.
Well, there it is. I don't think I'm just going to get in me by osmosis,
Well, I have a friend, and before we go to the movies, we go to a restaurant, and they have great liver and onions. And somehow we both like liver and onions, but chicken livers, they are a delicacy. They are really good. So I bought some, and I'm going to make it.
So you let me know how it is.
I know how it is. I eat it whenever I can get it. I used to eat a lot more of it. No, it's. I understand when you think of it, when you think what it is. Okay, but
I know.
But it really,
I know. There's so many things that if you just ate it, you'd say it's great.
I read somewhere too, though, that eventually we're going to be eating for protein. Let's see, those little things that make noise and fly. They're.
Oh.
Let's see what they're called now. I can't remember. It's a strange little bug. It chirps or something. Forget what it's called, but anyway, maybe I'll think of it later. But it's protein, and that's what they say. But even mussels, I don't know if you eat mussels or clams, they are so high in protein.
Yeah, I don't eat mussels.
See?
No.
No, see, you don't need those things. Well, when they're cooked well, with pasta and tomato sauce and all, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I know what I did want to tell you. Did you see where, because you have so many people, who deal with Alzheimer's there, that Bill Gates and his wife are going to fund research for Alzheimer's, $50 million now and $50 million right after that? Isn't that wonderful?
They are wonderful people, I have to admit.
Right. But, they've been doing this to help children around the world, and that's what their funding's been. But I think for them to jump in with Alzheimer's, it's very exciting.
I believe someday there will be a cure.
Yes.
Or at least a way to slow down the progression.
Exactly.
We're not there, but I believe just like Parkinson's.
Right.
Another, very sad.
Yeah, I know it is.
Disease.
I know it is, right. Well, I think that all good things have to come to an end. Yeah. And so I really loved having you on. We just did everything today. I loved it.
Yes, we did.
That's good. So flu season's underway, and it's not going away anytime soon. Get your flu shot. And thank you, Leslie Curtis. And let me give everyone your number again, 561-483-9282. And the website is regentsparkboca.com. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.